the next couple of rounds of the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama, we've headed to Virginia. Just, mind you, because VIR stands right on the border with North Carolina. In fact, it's so close, on my drive in from the hotel at Danville this morning, I crossed into North Carolina and then back again to come in to the entrance of this fabulous facility. It's been around for 60 years, although we almost lost it in the mid-1970s, which would have been a tragedy. So thank goodness for Connie Nyholm and the current set of owners who restored it to its former glory, and racing began again in the 2000s. 17 corners, uphill, down dale, in brilliant green and pleasant countryside. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindorf. The Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama this weekend as part of a celebration of all things Grand Touring. GT racing is at the fore at VIR, and the Porsche's one of the IMSA Development Series. The weather is as close to perfect as it could be. Mid-70s, not going to be a factor other than us saying how lovely it is. Here's how the championship stands. Coming into the weekend, Jake Edson has a 34-point gap to Corey Ferguson second. Then it's Esther, Landy, Imperato and Long for the top six in platinum. In gold, couldn't be any closer. Roman De Angelis, the man with momentum at the moment, has close to a single point of the championship leader, Fred Kamer. Two classes of car here, platinum with the black panels and the black mirrors, and gold, yellow mirrors, yellow number panels. They are actually two different types of Porsche 911 this year. Brand new for 2017. The Generation 2 car has a little more power, one or two aerodynamic tweaks, and some detail changes inside the cockpit as well. Whereas the Gold Cup cars are what raced here last year, indeed have been part of this championship since 2014. We've already had one race this weekend. McKay Snow from pole position led away, and then was briefly headed into the first corner by Anthony Imperato. Imperato dropping back through the field and defending perhaps a little too hard against Corey Ferguson, who he put onto the lush green grass. Snow then built up a huge lead in front of a quality field. Charlie Luck had no luck at all at turn 12. There may be no oak tree there now, but Charlie still did a bit of sightseeing. And then it was all about Sebastian Landy in the 49 Photo Coffee Porsche. This outstanding manoeuvre taking him from fourth to second, but still a long way back from Snow, who was in the lead. All of that would change when Roman De Angelis, who had been bossing the gold class, lost his engine. That brought out a safety car and packed the field up. On the restart, Landy took his opportunity, going into the roller coaster, another brilliant overtaking manoeuvre. That was on the penultimate lap. He got ahead and held on to break the heart of McKay Snow in second place, Trenton Estep in third. With De Angelis on the sidelines, Victor Gomez took advantage and the checkered flag in gold. Well, plenty of talking points from the first race. Jeremy Shaw and I have been in the paddock, and McKay Snow is desperate to stand on the top step of the podium in this one. He's on pole position again and will be green flag in just a moment's time. Well, I suggest we all take a very deep breath if yesterday's action is anything to go by in the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. Jeremy Shaw is alongside me, John Hindorf. I'm trying to keep my excitement down a little bit. I'm not controlling it that well, I'm afraid, but I think this is going to be another cracker on the 3.27 mile circuit. The beautiful surroundings of Virginia International Raceway. McKay Snow so close to that victory yesterday, just 2 laps away from it. He's got Anthony Imperato, another Wright Motorsports driver, for company on the front row. Behind them, the black and gold of Jake Edson for Kelly Moss Road and Race. Corey Fergus for more speed will want to be making up for being bumped off the track yesterday. Roman De Angelis on the inside of the 5th row is the best of our Gold Cup runners, and of course he's looking for redemption too after that engine gave up on him going into turn number 1 when he was in control of the category during yesterday's race. McKay Snow in the red and white Porsche on pole position. Anthony Imperato, very fast starter in the first round that we had here yesterday. Managed to get ahead round turn 1, but couldn't hold on to it. The pace is picking up, and we're going for a start. The green flag is in the air, and we're racing for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. The IMSA Development Series, once again, showcasing the best young road racing talent. And a great start by McKay Snow. Imperato under pressure by Trenton Estep in the black and gold car. In fact, Estep has gone through into second position. So that's Imperato now in third. Landy still in fourth position in the brown and terracotta coloured car. They're the 24th, Jake Edson looking down the inside, championship leader, didn't need to stick his nose in there.
Well, he was being pressured there very, very hard by Corey Fergus, and at the same moment, Corey Fergus's teammate, Will Hardeman, was looking down the inside. That's why I was kind of gasping for air as they headed into turn 4, but they all made it through unscathed. Yeah,
that was actually good driving by Old Trenton. Estep gets the position. Jake Edson, remember, championship leading car that, and just needs to keep on getting points. Oh, third place car's gone off. That's Imperato. The South Bend turn 10. It's been a real place of difficulty, particularly before the drivers have got their tyres up to temper pressure.
You were just telling us he makes great starts. He made a poor start, and then he throws it off the road halfway around the first time. It is my fault. Blame Hindhoff. Hey, but look, yes, the last couple of races, Anthony Imperato, boy, he's come on strong this season. Just his second season of racing at this level, and he has been a contender. Started on the front row both days. That is a remarkable effort for somebody with so little racing experience, and he is fast, but he's a little bit ragged as well. But hey, he's learning, and I'd much rather be fast and to kind of curb the enthusiasm a little bit, but not have that aggression.
Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, that, Jeremy, because he didn't hit the inside curb. He just drifted too far out to driver's right. Managed to keep, I think, some part of his left-hand side Yokohama's on the black stuff through. They go to compete the first lap then. A second lead for McKay Snow in the 63 Wright Motorsports car. Then Trenton Estep for JDX, Sebastian Landy up into third position there. The brown and terracotta car is now ahead of Imperato after Imperato's little indiscretion. Imperato holding on to, well, he's gone down to fifth actually, because Edson's come through into fourth position. Then Imperato, Corey Fergus in the 00. That is the most speed car, the white car with the very shiny, almost reflective maroon front end and sort of pixelated colour scheme on that car. Heading under the bridge and up the hill, plenty of people watching there on driver's right, lots of gazebos and easy ups there, and plenty of extra people coming in this Sunday morning to watch the racing. A really good and knowledgeable crowd. Had a chat with some of the spectators yesterday and earlier this morning. They are looking forward to another great day of racing here at VIR. And isn't this just a great way to kick off the morning? So pleased that this facility, Jeremy, was rescued from being mothballed from 1974 through to 2000, and look at the kind of racing that we've had here over the last few years.
Yeah, magnificent. An old school racetrack as well. None of these paved runoff areas to give our drivers an opportunity to get back on the racetrack with hardly any loss of time at all. Here, if you make a mistake, you're probably going to be on the grass, and you're going to be mowing, and you're going to be filling the nose of the car and the radiator up with grass, and that's neither of which is good. They both slow you down. So it's a wonderful racetrack and a challenge the drivers really enjoy, John.
Yeah, and they feel they can make a difference, Jeremy, and I think that's what drivers like. And it doesn't matter whether it's young drivers like McKay Snow, who's coming across the line to complete the second lap with a healthy 1.7 second lead, or whether it's the more experienced drivers of the IMSA WeatherTech series, which I'm sure many of these competitors will be aspiring to that series. They like to think they're making a difference. Good to see that Roman De Angelis did get the 78 car back on the grid. Looked like an engine issue for the Mark Motors driver yesterday. Car sounded a bit sick coming past us and then expired in the biggest possible way on the downshift into turn 1. He's got a couple of seconds on Victor Gomez, the 25 car. That's the bright green car with the fluorescent orange on the front end, the NGT trademark front end of that car. Just heading up the hill now and under the bridge. but he has got nothing except a couple of seconds between himself and his class leader. No other cars in there, so that means that Victor can just knuckle down and watch out for the grey and fluorescent yellow of the back of the Mark Motors car. See if he can close down a little bit on the 78. It would seem to me as Roman De Angelis is right in behind Andrew Long in the 47. That's the blue and black car. Now they're all platinum cars, Jeremy, so they've got quite a bit more horsepower, but very impressive that Roman can stay with those cars.
Very much so. They leap away there coming off the Oak Tree corner and make a big gain on him coming off that corner. But a couple of times on this lap that De Angelis kind of looked to the inside, particularly under braking, but not able to make that pass. Yeah, turn one, and again at Oak Tree as well. You see, he's really quick, this young man.
Way back at turn one on Andrew Long and managed to back out of it. I think
he's a star.
He's going to be a big star.
He is, and he missed the races at Circuit Americas because the Mark Motors team wasn't planning on doing the whole championship. It was only when they realised how much he was learning, how well he was going, they decided the whole thing. So missed a couple of races, lost out a lot of points there, but he'd made that up. And with that pole yesterday, he'd drawn level with the class leader coming into this round.
And think Hardiman got through. Oh, Hardiman did get through on Imperato, but then they've come together at turn one. Hardiman got a really good run on Anthony Imperato as they were fighting for 5th and 6th position, and they've come together at turn one. Looked like Imperato was fighting back on the outside. Oh, and Will Hardiman just got it wrong on his own.
It was Long.
Excuse me, Andrew Long got it wrong on his own and got sideways. Hardiman had already got past the pair of them. And so it was Snow, Estep, Landy, Edson, Fergus, Hardiman across the line. And then Andrew Long in the 47 just locking up the rear of his Generation 2 991 type Porsche. He's going again with a little bit of bodywork in range, but not much more damage.
That's amazing, isn't
that. That is amazing, Jeremy. What happened to Anthony Imperato? Well, he's running again as well, a little bit further up the road than Andrew Long. So these Porsches are built tough. Sebastian Landy now has Jake Edson for company. That's 3rd and 4th position as they go out of turn 5 through 6, which is the snake, and under the bridge, climbing all the way now pretty much to the Oak Tree turn, with the notable exception of over the brow at turn 10. These cars are exceptionally quick, but you've got to set it up perfectly. Can't see where you're pointing the car, and those two drivers do it pretty good. Now on the brakes for turn 11, the first part of Oak Tree. Do not hit the inside curb at 12, but you can run out onto the tarmac strip on the exit of the corner. That's a good run out of the corner for Sebastian Landy. That's where he was strong yesterday, and he's still got that slight advantage over Edson there. Yeah,
these two continuing their battle from yesterday. Yesterday they spent most of the race the other way around with Edson ahead of Landy, but Landy was actually a couple of places behind him, a couple of other cars between him for most of the race, but he got past him and he made that brilliantly opportunist manoeuvre to get past it into the 2nd place, which became the win with a great pass certainly after the restart. Madison Snow was crushed after losing out that race, having led the whole way convincingly, but he's doing that again this afternoon. He's pulling out his lead nicely at the front of the field, just extending the lead by a little bit every single lap over Trenton Essex, until that time actually, where Trenton just set the fastest lap of the race. That win yesterday though, for Sebastian Landy, I reckon was the first win in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge for Alex Job Racing since 2011, when Cooper McNeil won one of the races for Alex Job Racing. So great results for that team.
Landy having to drive rather too much, looking in the mirrors. As he heads up the hill. Landy then, no time to revel in his victory. The overall victory yesterday. Got to get straight back down to work as McKay Snow now is going to have to deal with Trenton Estep, who's closed into about 1.5 seconds.
Yeah, he has. He's got the margin down from a little bit over 2 seconds to McKay Snow at the front of the field. But still got quite a long way to go if he's going to get himself onto terms with the race leader, because there's a really nice consistent laps at the front of the field in the early stages by McKay Snow, allowed him to extend that margin.
Now, 32 minutes to go. This is a relatively long race. The Yokohama tyres are very consistent throughout. Indeed, we've often seen drivers doing fastest laps late on. Alan Metney goes off at the Oak Tree corner. His car still bearing some of the scars of the big accident from Watkins Glen International in our previous event. Had a spin there at turn 1, and whilst fighting his way back through the field, had another incident and hit Bill Smith's 42 car. They both ended up in the concrete wall. Thankfully, both of them were okay. Now, Alan was having a moment a long way before the corner and has picked up one of the marker boards on the front of his 99 Porsche, but didn't hit anything. Will have dirt on his Yokohama tyres, and that's going to take half a lap or a lap to clean those off again, so he needs to be slightly circumspect as he heads into the faster corners for a little while. And oh, he hasn't got rid of the marker board. He's got grass in the outside air intakes, and the middle air intake is covered over by that brake marker board, and he hasn't even done the sponsor a favour by having it turned around so that we can read it. He's going to have to be very careful now and watch the temperature gauges. And aerodynamically, not an issue. Forcing air over the top, actually. He's probably finding himself going a bit quicker. It's actually, he's hit that so hard, Jeremy. I think the tow hook has gone through it. Yeah,
I think you're right.
I think I can just see a little bit of the red tow hitch to the right-hand side, and that's pierced that. Yes, exactly.
And also on that, mate, I think we see Charlie Luck made a mistake on that same lap as well, so he's lost a bit of ground in kind of a 45. He was running in the 4th or 5th position in the Gold Cup category. As we go to the leader in that class, having got this car repaired from yesterday, a mechanical problem that stopped Roman DeAngelis. He's come back strong today. He's now settled back. He's not close to anybody in front because various people have fallen off the road. No one close behind him, so he's just now into a consistent run, trying to get himself back into championship contention.
So just under half an hour of racing still remains in the second event of the weekend for the Porsches here at VIR, and they're playing nicely in the sunshine at the moment. Snow leads from Estep. Yesterday's winner, Sebastian Landi, in 3rd. Quite a long race, still plenty of action to come, and there is a reason for that, of course. The idea of the longer races here in the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama is to get drivers used to be able to manage a car that's changing in terms of its weight and its tyre wear throughout a 45-minute stint that they might be doing later on in their career. This is very much a development series. It's a global formula for Porsche, and speaking to Porsche representatives over the weekend, they are delighted that the non-pro formula that we have here, as Andrew Long goes through on the start-finish line on Mentney, making up positions, putting a lap on him. Still got that advertising hoarding on the front of the 99 car. Charlie Luck is battling Mentney for position 14th and 15th, or if you prefer, 5th and 6th in GT Gold. Yeah, just going back to the Porsche mentality here for Porsche USA and for IMSA, this is a non-pro category. Full-time professional drivers who already have a career aren't allowed. Now, that's not necessarily the case in other Porsche Cups around the world, and particularly not, of course, in the Super Cup. Those guys are at the very pinnacle of Porsche racing. But here, this is a development series for IMSA, and Porsche very much see that as well. And they're loving, as we are, the excitement and entertainment of watching young drivers at the start of their careers using this as a showcase to get out in front of the IMSA WeatherTech teams and other people who might be watching, as you are now, to see where the next generation of talent is coming from. And long, Jeremy, may it remain like that. I think it's a great formula. And right now, it was described to me as the Formula 3 of GT racing. And you and I are old enough to remember when particularly things like British Formula 3 were a must-have on the resume of a driver. Well, Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama here in North America, its sister series north of the border, the Ultra 94 Championship, very much fulfilling that sort of role for budding GT and endurance drivers.
Yeah, I completely agree. It does provide a tremendous learning tool for the young drivers. There's a lot of drivers here who've got a lot of experience in these cars. They can match themselves against them and also against their peers as they try to move up the ladder. Back to the leaders now, and there's not much more than a second. That gap is still coming down. I was wondering what happened as they headed toward turn one, because they put a lap on Greg Palmer, I think, who'd had a spin a little while ago, and McKay Snow, he's using every inch and more on the exit of Oak Tree turn. That's not going to lose him. That is going to lose him some momentum onto the straight. And now Trenton Essex is within striking distance. So McKay Snow clearly not quite as comfortable with his car as he was yesterday.
49.4 for the leader, 49.1 for Estep, 49.5 for Sebastian Landy, 49.6 for Jake Edson. This is great stuff, you know. Corey Fergus in the most speed, the maroon and white car with his mirrors full of the 19 at the moment. Estep is closing in on the leader. Oh, that's the leader! The leader's gone off at Oak Tree. He's facing the wrong direction. The 63 car. McKay Snow, Estep was in close attendance there in the black and gold car, but I'll reserve judgment until we have more evidence for you. Facing the wrong direction, engine stalled, lead disappearing, coming into the corner. Snow on his own starts to slide. Oh, he's thrown it away. He's thrown it away, and that is back to the McKay Snow that we saw at Road America, Jeremy, making mistakes. And that is exactly what we thought we'd waved goodbye to when we saw the very mature performance in driving away from the field yesterday. And Trenton Estep is through into the lead, a lead which is now 7.1 seconds from Sebastian Landy and Jake Edson, who's closed in on Landy in third position.
And the difference today is that Trenton Estep has really got to grips with this car. He's going a lot quicker than yesterday. McKay Snow has been lapping faster than he did when he was pulling away yesterday with ease. So it's not that McKay Snow is struggling today, it's that Trenton Estep really upped his game. And having settled down in the first couple of laps, he lost a little bit of ground, did the youngster Estep. But now he's picking up, look, he's driving that car with a plum.
He's now enjoying it.
He's super enthusiastic. He's now got full confidence back. He had that horrible accident at Watkins Glen a few races ago, a month or so ago, and it's difficult to come back from that, but he's now got that confidence back, and he's been charging in this race, and he has forced McKay Snow into a mistake.
Still the battle between Alan Metney and Charlie Luck continues, with Charlie getting him slightly airborne through the S's last time around, but unable to put a move on the 99 car ahead of him. That's fourth and fifth in the gold category. Yeah, that's a good point that you make, Jeremy, about McKay Snow, who has dropped like a stone. Yeah, Greg Palmer, by the way, is back out of the pit lane. McKay Snow is down in 8th overall. That's 7th in class. That promotes Roman D'Angelis, our gold class leader, into the top 6 overall. I like your point that you were making, Jeremy, about how much Trenton Estep, whose car control is superb, as he spins up the rear Yokohamas last time around going up the hill, putting that pressure on. Pressure doesn't have to be side by side or nose to tail. Clearly, McKay Snow, I described Trenton Estep as a creeping menace. He will have been getting that from his pits, either on the pit board or on the radio. He knew he had to keep pushing, and he was eventually pushed into a mistake. And like I say, it doesn't have to be door handle to door handle, does it?
No, it doesn't. Absolutely right. You could feel that pressure from behind, I think, of McKay Snow there. And Trenton Estep, where did you learn that sort of car control? You learned it from F1600. They all used to be called Formula Ford, F1600 now. They're using Honda engines these days, particularly in North America. He won championships, 2 championships north of the border last season in Canada, and it was great for his racecraft. He learned so much from that category. I highly recommend Jake Edson, the championship leader, currently in 3rd place. He came through F1600 as well. No coincidence. There's a lot of top drivers in the world who have come through that form of racing early stages of their career.
Slight damage to the right front of the Wright Motorsport snow racing car as McKay Snow makes back a position, and he's now back into 6th in class. That was David Baker that he's just gone through. David, by the way, is leading the Masters category in the Platinum class, 7th and 8th overall, and now there is 11 seconds for McKay Snow to make up on our Gold class leader, Roman De Angelis, in 6th position at the head of the field. 7.4 seconds the advantage for Trenton Estep. He's got the top of the timing screen to himself and the circuit, with plenty of gap between him and Sebastian Landy in 2nd. Jake Edson pushing now in 3rd, just 0.3 of a second between 2nd and 3rd. Corey Fergus in the 00 car, that maroon and white more speed car, another 4.5 seconds further back, and he's under pressure from Will Hardiman, the number 19 car from Austin, Texas. Another more speed entered machine, and Hardiman just half a second back from 4th position. A reminder then that Trenton Estep is nearly 7.5 seconds to the goods. Now, what does that look like? Here's the battle for 2nd position. Landy and Edson should be able to see the leader disappearing up the hill. That's the black and gold car. There he is, as the battle for 2nd comes through the snake, turn 6. That's the sharp end of the field we're talking about. Behind them, Corey Fergus and Will Hardiman, the 2 more speed cars. They're fighting for position as well. Up through the S's and into turn number 10. That number 19 car with the state of Texas on the side. And with recent extreme weather events in Texas on all of our minds, this would be a good weekend, wouldn't it, for Will Hardiman to get a result. Very enthusiastic about his racing, and didn't quite do the full season last year, had an addition to the family, but has come back and committed for the 2017 season. Good to have him here. And at the moment, he's putting pressure on Corey Fergus. Those 2 cars normally seen parked together in the Mo Speed awning. There's a couple of big teams here, Jeremy, that run multiple car operations, Mo Speed being one of them.
Yeah, they run a couple of cars this season. Last year they ran just a singleton entry for Will Hardiman. I think it's really been good for him this season to have a teammate, particularly with somebody of the experience, not necessarily in these particular cars, but in Porsches certainly, of Corey Fergus. A lot of racing miles under his career. Will Hardiman, by contrast, just started at the beginning of last year, so relatively still pretty new to this sport. But Corey Fergus is certainly pushing on Will Hardiman. He's leading him right now, but they're both fast. And Will Hardiman, he's still looking for his first win at this level, but he's come close several times, had a couple of 2nd place finishes already this season. At the moment running in the 5th position, and dicing with his teammate Corey Fergus, heading up through the S's one more time. Yeah, 15 minutes remaining.
A little bit of intra-team battling going on there. Bragging rights in the hall at the end of this. There's no team orders, of course, here, except don't take your teammate out. That is always the team order here. 2 beautifully prepared cars from Mo Speed with the triple stripe stylized M on the front wings, the front fenders of those cars, indicating the Mo Speed operation. nothing to choose between those two as they head down the back straight. Up the first and the smallest of the three rises. No way that you can actually see this third rise as you turn into the roller coaster. Now, Alan Metney has got Charlie Look as close as he's been. Charlie needs to try and make a dive. Good driving by Metney. He's held the right-hand side of the circuit, the inside to the right-hander, forcing Charlie Look to try and go around the outside. Look trying to cut back at the exit of the horseshoe through turns 1 and 2 into the left-hander at turn number 3.
And this battle between this pair is hauling them up closer and closer now to Bill Smith in car number 42, lies directly ahead of them.
Yeah, that's the bright orange and red machine that is hoving into sight here. Bill under the bridge, and Metney with Look right at his wheel tracks, and the leader not too far behind them either. So with 13 minutes to go, Jeremy, Trenton Estep in a lap or two will have the added complication of trying to pass 1, 2, possibly 3 cars battling for position in Gold Cup. His lead, by the way, has gone up a little bit. 7.7 seconds now, and he's lapping consistently in the mid-149 range. Last time around, a 149.6 against Sebastian Landy's 149.7.
Yeah, certainly in control of the race now is Trenton Estep at the front. He's just got to keep his head down, turn consistent laps, make sure that he doesn't give when he's passing lap traffic, there'll be a few more cars he's going to have to get past. Make sure he leaves them plenty of leeway, don't take any chances whatsoever, and bring it home for JDX Racing.
Nice measured run by Trenton Estep. Charlie Look this time gets the run out to 17, side by side across the line. But I think the aerodynamic advantage of that bit of hoarding on the front of the 99 car's really helping him in a straight line. It's pushing the air straight over the top of the front of the Porsche rather than through the air intakes. Not sure that that is approved from Weissach in Germany, which is where Porsche Motorsport are based, but it's certainly working right now here at VIR. Once again, Charlie Look is in the hole in the air being made by the 99 car, but he just can't turn that into a passing opportunity. He's going to try and go round the outside into one. Wasn't close enough. Ahead of them, Bill Smith is going to be dragged into this battle in a lap or so. Estep, a 150.6 last time around because of that traffic. Yep. So eased about a second. But that, again, Jeremy, that to me just shows the maturity of that young driver. He's lost a second, but he's still got the lead.
Yeah, no worries about that from his perspective, and he's got a lot of experience on the radio, telling me instructions as exactly how to handle the fact that he's out in the lead and out on his own and pretty much cruising at this stage. So he's just going to bring it home now, and of course he knows full well that the second and third place cars, Sebastian Landy and Jake Edson, they're going to work their way past this traffic, as well as Charlie Look once more thinks about making a move to the inside, going in towards the oak tree, realizes he's not close enough.
Yeah, and Sebastian Landy and Jake Edson are the next 2 cars back. Landy has eased out. It was down to just about a couple of tenths of a second. It's now 8 tenths of a second. That's been yo-yoing backwards and forwards. Jake Edson...
Well, a couple of laps ago, Jake, on the previous lap, Jake must have made a mistake, because all of a sudden he lost a bit more than a second, John, and now he's working hard to try and narrow that gap once again.
Yeah, it is 9.997 at the moment. That was the previous iteration of Porsche. This is 991, of course. Estep by 7.1 seconds. Landy and Edson. The point about Edson, Jeremy, is if he can get through, if Sebastian was to make a mistake, he'll take the extra points for second. But where he's sitting at the moment is no stress for him. His championship lead, leaving here, is intact so long as he stays on the track.
You're absolutely right, and but he's certainly going to try and take advantage of this traffic they've got ahead of him. Meanwhile, in their mirrors, these 2 more speed guys are still at it. The 2 teammates, Corey Fergus ahead of Will Hardeman.
That's 4th and 5th in platinum, and overall Roman De Angelis, by the way, still for Mark Motors in 6th position and leading the Gold Cup. That's the grey and fluorescent green car, and he is being caught now by McKay Snow, who's got more power and goes through on the start line. So McKay Snow, having led this race under pressure from Trenton Estep, made a mistake and went off the circuit up at Oak Tree, stalled the engine, took a very long time to get back on the track, lost something like, well, better part of a minute now, and he's still at over 40 seconds behind the leader, now through into 6th position, but has, oh, Estep's got a puncture, the leader's got a puncture, and there's another car off as well, that's Charlie Luck, but Estep was already past him, left rear puncture for the leader, and Sebastian Landy is going to go through into the lead, and does. So Jake Edson will go through into 2nd, well, cruel luck for the leader, so that's 2 cars that's been in the lead of the race. Now, was that contact or a mistake for the number 3 driver? He will get back to the pit lane, but any chance of a decent result is disappearing. Oh my goodness, he's put his 4-way flashes on. That's very courteous driving. I think that would be the last thing I would think about if the lead of the race has just gone, but fair play to Trenton Estep. He's going a little too quickly, and in fact, he's pulled off the circuit. I think he realizes, oh, is the damage to the wheel rim as well, or is that just rubber hanging over? Well, well, well. Unbelievable.
What a shame for the youngster.
Charlie Luck was off the circuit as well, but he'd already been passed. So, can't see any evidence of side-to-side contact. Well, Sebastian Landy, is this going to be a double for him? Landy, another measured drive by Sebastian, and the Photo Strong Coffee machine looking pretty smart. Nothing on the back straight ahead of him, and almost 2 seconds, in fact just over 2 seconds back to Jake Edson now as they go through the timing beam on the back straight. Super consistent laps for Landy as well. 49.9 last time around. Dropped into the 50s when he was in traffic. His best of 49.1 is not quite the fastest out there, but not far off. 3rd or 4th quickest car on the outright laps. It's Trenton Estep's 1:48.7, who's the outright best. Then I think McKay Snow with a 40.8, and then it would be Landy. Mark Motors' 78 car is Roman De Angelis. Remember, this is one of the older cars in the field, dates back to 2014. One of the great things about the Porsche Cup racing around the world down through the years is that the cars have quite a long life in racing terms, and until this year the car specification was frozen from 2014. So although that car that Roman De Angelis is driving is a 14 car, last year that was a platinum class car and was competitive. In fact, the IMSA Championship is the first of the national championships to get this new Gen 2 car. And there are still many championships around the world that use what we are now calling the Gold Cup car as their premier class. They'll be rolling over into the Gen 2 car the end of 2017 and into 2018.
That battle, by the way, between Alan Metney and Charlie Luck has been resumed, because after running off the road, Charlie has caught up again And now he's putting the pressure once more on Alan Metni.
Proof, if proof were needed, Jeremy, how difficult it is to pass around here, because Charlie's clearly very quick, and his lap times over the last few laps has been taking time out of Alan, but can't find a way past. The white flag is in the air for Sebastian Landi. 2 seconds, the gap between him and championship leader Jake Edson. Jake does not need to challenge him, and Sebastian does not need to push overly hard. The 74, 6th position overall for Roman De Angelis in the green and grey Mark Motors car. He comes to the white flag now. Another measured drive by that young man, not pressured by anyone in the gold category. But as has been said many times before, you can only race the competition that's out there, and he has done exactly what he's needed to do as far as the championship is concerned. And if he stays where he is, he will be leading the gold championship standings as we leave VIR. Halfway around the final lap, Sebastian Landi.
Yeah, this is going to enable Jake Edson once again to extend his championship lead. It was already 38 points coming into this round because he gained 4 points yesterday on Corey Fergus. He's going to gain another couple of points on him today.
Corey Fergus has pulled away from Will Hardeman, his Merc Speed teammate, so the 00 will come onto the podium in 3rd place. But Corey needs to start getting ahead of Jake Edson and putting cars between them if he's going to put pressure on him for the championship. Well, there's been no pressure put on Sebastian Landi here at VIR. He goes through. Edson will take the championship lead and extend it. But Sebastian Landi has ordered a double photo coffee, and it's played into his hands perfectly this weekend with 2 wins. A delightful double for Landi. That great battle that's been going on for most of the race for 5th position in gold will go to Metni as he crosses the line, just a Porsche length ahead of Charlie. Look at the sharp end of the gold field, and 6th position overall. Roman De Angelis puts another tick in his considerable win column for 2017, and he will assume the gold championship lead as we leave Virginia. In Masters category, David Baker is about to come across the line in the 56, the multicoloured car, 7th overall, and he takes the Platinum Masters category. Victor Gomez in the 25 will be 2nd in gold ahead of Fred Keimer, who's 3rd in the 23 car. Jeremy Shaw, Sebastian Landi, what a breakout weekend for this young man. One with 2 stupendous overtaking manoeuvres in the early race this weekend. Had to be there, got to be in it to win it, and he was. Made up positions from his 4th position, takes a delightful double this weekend. Well, you can't say I didn't warn you. I said take a deep breath before we got the green flag. I bet you're pleased you did now. Round 12 of the IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama has been completed, and it ends in another sweet victory for Sebastian Landi, ahead of Jake Edson for Kelly Moss Road and Race. So 2 from 2 this weekend for Alex Job Racing and Landi. Then it's more speed with Ferguson Hardeman, who had a race-long battle. Gold Cup won once again by Roman De Angelis. We'll hear from him in a moment after our double winner at the weekend, Sebastian Landi.
You know, it was a little bit of a lucky one today. We've kind of had a little bit of bad luck all year, so thankful that we finally had a little bit of a blessed weekend. I was just really happy to get a good start. I was able to gain 1 spot, I think, and from there I was just kind of sitting, and I didn't really have the pace for McKay and for Trenton, but I guess I'm not sure what happened to McKay in Oak Tree, but he went off, and then I found myself sitting in 2nd, and now I kind of feel sorry for Trenton. I think this was definitely his race. He did everything great. He drove a great stint, and really unfortunate to see him get that flat tire, but at the same time I'm happy that we were there to take advantage of it. And also congrats to Jake, because I couldn't make a mistake the whole race. He was right there. But huge thanks to Alex Job Racing for all they've done this year. We've had a little bit of a tough year, but finally, I think we're getting the results that we deserve.
The championship table has Jake Edson increasing his lead to Corey Fergus just a little bit, with Trenton Estep still in third. Sebastian Landi, though, the man on the move, establishes himself as an outside contender for the championship. Fred Keimer stretches his lead over Roman De Angelis to 6 points after the 2 races this weekend, with Victor Gomez closing in. He's only 12 points back from the lead.
It's pretty rough, to be honest with you. Right now we're second. We're 11 points behind. We should be a little bit closer now. And I hopefully we can make him back. But I mean, we missed a weekend already. We got a little bit of trouble in Road America with rear lights fogging up, so we had to come in. And then yesterday with the engine blow. So I mean, we have some work to do, but I think it's possible.
Still points to be won and championships to be decided as the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama heads to California and the fabulous Sonoma Raceway. On behalf of Jeremy Shaw and the rest of our hard-working production crew, as well as the volunteer marshals and officials here at VIR, thanks for joining us, and make sure you come back to see more action from 2017's IMSA Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge USA by Yokohama. I'm John Hindhaugh. Bye-bye.
Thank you.